Hey everyone, how are you all doing? Okay, so let me start off by saying if you're pro Gypsy, this is not going to be the video for you. This is to give a person some support. A person who has been run off TikTok because of who they are and their story. Adaptive Kate has been bullied, tormented by not only Gypsy Rose, her stepmother Kristy, but also Katie Joy. I do not enjoy talking about Katie Joy. Never have done. She is not somebody I want to make my channel off. But this I need to talk about. I also want to show you what some other awesome creators have been saying about the whole situation. There are some very intelligent, intuitive creators who have done more digging, more research, and pulled up things that wouldn't have otherwise been seen. I am still blown away by how much we see on YouTube. The first court case I ever seen was that of his stepmother killing her stepson. Coming across police interviews blows my mind because it's all there. From start to end, it's all there. And you get to see how somebody reacts in situations that most of us wouldn't have dealt with very well. Like being accused of ending the life of your mother. Not once did she mention any kind of abuse in this police interview. And she also lied about her age. And that is a big question for me. Like, she knew that her mother was no longer with us. So why did she say that the date of birth on her medical card was wrong? When in reality, she knew that it was right. You can't tell me that an 18-year-old does not know her age. And by the time she was being interviewed, she was 23. As a father, I have questions for him too. If I told the father of my children not to mention their age because they don't know they're 18, I'm pretty sure my partner would be asking questions, or ex-partner in this case, and he wouldn't be let go lightly. But I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about the interactions that Kate Joy is putting out, where she couldn't support Gypsy anymore. But then she had a 3-hour conversation, and then she could support her again. Katie confirms that Gypsy has a chromosome disorder. Anybody who knows Katie would know, excuse me, don't trust anything she talks about. Katie is one of the dirtiest people on YouTube. With all the lawsuits that she's been in, I'm surprised that she still owns her own house. With all the lawsuits that she's been in, I'm surprised that YouTube hasn't banned her. But she makes a lot of money. and YouTube try to keep around the people who make them money. They don't mind if a little channel with maybe 2,000 to 3,000 get taken down instead of Katie. That can happen. But Katie being taken down? Nah. I want to start out with someone called Becca Spells. And it's her first video, Gypsy. She has made another one, and I will link her channel in the description. But she is very, very intelligent and speaks a lot of sense. Did I speed this up? I think I did. Yes. Okay, let's do this.
Hello, YouTubers. Welcome to Becca Scoops. Today we're going to be doing an investigation into Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Many people have asked, should Gypsy Rose Blanchard's parole be revoked? Well, that's the question we asked law enforcement personnel who worked on the original case back in 2015. Who are we? My partner is a veteran detective with 20 years experience, and I'm Becca, a former psychiatric and ICU RN. Join us as we take you down the rabbit hole of this case and answer these tough questions. What was the real motive? Did Gypsy Rose lie to the parole board? And has she been rehabilitated? When Gypsy Rose Blanchard was released from prison on December
I don't think she has been rehabilitated, and I'm going to tell you why after this video.
28, 2023, she was acclaimed as the celebrity of the moment. Netizens on TikTok threw her release parties and hailed Blanchard a survivor. Gypsy Rose wasted no time as she embarked on a glitzy media tour along with her new husband, Ryan Anderson. That's when the tide started to turn. Others took to social media and blasted Blanchard as a master manipulator after
People weren't very nice to Ryan when he came out as her husband. They were like, he's weird, he's strange, he's this, he's that. But they're okay with Ken. Ken left her because he couldn't understand and couldn't get his head around the attention that Gypsy was getting. And now that she's released and she's making a lot of money and is like a millionaire now off the passing of her mother, I don't know. Men.
the celebrated convict claimed in one interview that she doesn't identify as a schmurderer. We were told Gypsy was an abused little girl who grew up and asked her internet boyfriend, Nicholas Godejohn, to unalive her mother. Gypsy took a plea deal and served 8.5 years in prison. Well, that didn't sit well with law enforcement personnel we contacted, who granted us some insider info about the original investigation and other details never revealed.
Interesting. As for Nick, I don't want to say that Nick needs to be released. Does he deserve a fair trial? Hell yes. Did he get a fair trial? No, he effing didn't. Not by a long shot. The way that he is spoken to in the police interrogation, the way he's told if he loves Gypsy as much as he says, he won't let her get into trouble. Wow. That officer should have lost her job, I'm sorry.
Okay, good morning. I want to specify at the beginning of this press conference that this is an ongoing investigation. And I want to start off with saying things are not always as they appear.
To understand a crime, detectives investigate the victim, in this case, Dee Dee Blanchard. We learned Dee Dee had a long track record of being a con woman who had quite a colorful criminal past. In HBO's 2017 documentary, several relatives made claims about Dee Dee's bad track record of misdeeds, which included allegedly writing bad checks, committing credit card fraud, and engaging in petty thefts. They also claimed, quite alarmingly, that Dee Dee may have helped do away with her own mother, Emma Petrie, through slow starvation. Then there was Dee Dee's stepmother, Laura, who also claimed that Dee Dee once tried to do away with her by putting the weed killer Roundup in her food.
But nobody reported these crimes to the police. Nobody reported the ending of Gypsy Rose's grandmother's life, or the poisoning of the step-grandmother. Why is that? Why did no one report these crimes? Because they're pretty serious.
Laura ultimately survived, but was bedridden for 9 months following the alleged murder attempt. However, Dee Dee's most infamous role would be using her daughter, Gypsy Rose, in a medical con that lasted many, many years. By now, most people have heard that Dee Dee was a con woman who allegedly had a condition called Munchausen by proxy. She was making Gypsy fake illnesses and seek medical procedures she did not need. However, we were pretty shocked to learn that before Munchausen by proxy, also called factitious disorder imposed by another, became the narrative in this case, a few psychologists weren't sure that that fit Dee Dee to a T. So we had to ask, where did the Munchausen by proxy diagnosis come from in the first place? Only 48 hours after Gypsy's arrest, before any criminal investigation had happened, the Springfield News Leader published an article that claimed this diagnosis of Munchausen by proxy came from, quote, amateur sleuths on the internet, end quote. The article
Amateur sleuths on the internet. Why am I not surprised by that? Because so much happens on the internet.
article read, quote, it was posted everywhere by people reading the stories and making judgments about what was happening, end quote. Then there's Dr. Ann Roast, who is the assistant head of psychology at Missouri State University. She said, as you might expect, such a diagnosis isn't so easy. She added, for one, the victim, usually a child, isn't aware of the deception. It's unclear, Roast claimed, how much Gypsy Blanchard knew about her condition, but certainly she knew she could walk. Dr. Roast said there's a similar but different disorder in which people fake medical issues for
Now, Gypsy has done several interviews where she's spoken about this, and in one interview she has said that her mother tied her to the bed because she ran away. In another interview, Gypsy says that her mother would hit her with a coat hanger if she got out of a wheelchair, if she decided to get up and walk. Which one is it, Gypsy? Did she start hitting you when you got out of the wheelchair, or when you tried to run away? The contradictions this woman keeps coming up with is unreal.
financial gain. That's called malingering.
You know what you've got there, my malingering Hector?
No, sir.
Or in this case, it would be malingering by proxy. Rose said, I don't have all the details of this case, but certainly it appears they were benefiting financially. You might be wondering, why is this so important? Why do we need to know, or why did law enforcement who are investigating this case need to know if Dee Dee Blanchard was truly a mom who displayed Munchausen by proxy? Well, it goes to motive. If Dee Dee was just a master con woman who doctor shop, reported fake illnesses, and made Gypsy sit in a wheelchair for financial gain, then Gypsy wouldn't necessarily have been fearing for her life. With what we learned about Dee Dee's history, her criminal past, a fraud for financial gain, we can see where this diagnosis might not fit according to the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. One of the 4 criteria for Munchausen by proxy states the deceptive behavior persists even in the absence of external incentives or rewards. Well, that made us pause. In other words, would Dee Dee have engaged in this behavior, faking Gypsy's illnesses, if she had no financial incentives? That aspect of the diagnosis made us question if Dee Dee truly was actually making Gypsy very ill.
Okay, so with that, I'm going to move on to another one. I'm going to put that in the description, and let's talk a little bit more about the scenario with Gypsy and Katie Joy. Okay, so Katie Joy Paulson isn't somebody you want on your side. Because the minute that she feels disrespected, humiliated, whatever, she's going to turn on you and she's going to dump everything she knows. Whether it's the truth or not, it will all come out. And Katie has been in numerous lawsuits and still is in one to this date. Katie posted a post on Instagram. Now, this is where Katie posts the stuff that she doesn't want to interfere with her YouTube channel because of fear of her YouTube channel being banned. Katie is very very careful of what she posts on her YouTube channel. Sometimes she does go too far. And she reels it back in. She deletes it and acts like it never happened. And she's the queen of acting like it never happened. So I'm going to put up the post right here. And I'm going to go over a few of the pieces. As you can see, Katie said I can't support this anymore. I have stood by for 5 years in support of Gypsy and her family, but I have reached the end of my journey. I have made my feelings known to the family. I made them clear in January. Profiting off ending somebody's life is wrong. Becoming famous off ending somebody's life is wrong. Setting up trust funds to bypass laws regarding profiting off crimes is wrong. There is no advocacy here. And I will second that. I have not seen Gypsy advocating for man's husbands by proxy survivors. Not at all. No. There was one little TikTok video that was probably about 3 minutes long, if that. In fact, one of the producers told them, "Get your bag." They have been hyped up by Melissa Moore, who exploits crime victims and has made Gypsy and her family believe they are famous. Interesting. Melissa believes Gypsy can get rich off this, and she has already. Her net worth is $2.3 million. And by the time she brings out this new documentary and her new book, who knows just how rich Gypsy is going to be. I've been clear, Gypsy was abused, but she is still a person who takes somebody's life. I've been clear about my concerns for months, but I can't do this anymore. Gypsy isn't a bad person, but bad people in Hollywood are in her head. She's getting to fight it on TikTok in the comments, well, we know that. She was told not to get involved with Ken during the divorce. But she didn't only get involved with Ken, she was rubbing Ken all up in Ryan's face. Ken has been nothing but honourable since the divorce. He hasn't said a bad word. Not one bad word about Gypsy. And the fact that Gypsy keeps coming out time and time again, trying to make him look bad. Like the incident where she said, "If we had a child, would you get rid of it so easily?" That puppy was bought for Gypsy, for when Ryan was at work and she was alone all day. Gypsy has come out with numerous reasons why they're getting divorced. The one that she said that he was hot in bed and snores. Yeah, have you seen the guy? He's a big boy. There's a likelihood he's going to be extremely hot in the night. And there's a good likelihood that he's going to snore. You had a 2-bedroom place, Gypsy, as far as you said. But the reality of why Katie is so mad is because she didn't know that Gypsy was going to meet Kim Kardashian. Now I'm sure you're all aware that Gypsy wants nothing more than to meet Taylor Swift. But I hope that she realizes that Taylor Swift will see her interacting with Kim Kardashian. Thank you, Amy. She is number one, not on the hit, not a fan of Kim Kardashian. Kim has done a lot of damage to Taylor Swift. And this is going to be only putting her on the no meat list. Katie goes on to talk about the chromosome disorder. And she says, I've seen the records. The next day, Gypsy came back. I believe it was the next day anyway. And she has revoked her statement in regards to her and Gypsy falling out. And I will also put that over here. I would like to archive. I have archived my previous post about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Not because I still don't feel concerned or have issues, the way Lifetime is handling the situation, but because no matter what, my post came from a place of protection. This has also been removed off Katie Joy's Instagram. I want to be clear that Kristy, nor Gypsy, manipulated, dictated my feelings about them. When I have a concern, I can always express my feelings to them. I stand firm. I don't like how Lifetime has handled her story. I don't believe the image they portray of her on socials gives the story the serious or care that it deserves. Really, Katie? That's your opinion, is it? I don't have to support every decision she makes. Try again. I don't have to support every decision she makes. To still want the best for her and her family. Gypsy is impulsive, she will tell you that herself. She also has trauma from her abuse and often reacts from trauma response when she feels out of control. She isn't an evil, horrible human. She is flawed like we all are. But most of us don't take the life of our mother, no matter how abusive they are. Now, I have spoke about why I spent time behind bars. And I explained what happened. And when I told the officer that I was going to give her every inch of pain she's ever given me in my life. And that was the number one thing I was talking about. Was I was returning the abuse that she'd given me my entire life. For that, I almost got 10 years inside. I will link that in the description. I will never pile on her. I will never hate her for her crime. I will support her taking care of herself and getting help. I don't want my friendship of 5 years with Kristy to end over a Lifetime agenda. How big was the check they signed for you, Katie? How much did they give you to change your opinion back? Because in all honesty, that's what it looks like. That they paid you off. They paid you to get back on side with them. You thought your opinion was relevant to them. But it wasn't. Anybody who knows Katie knows to stay away. Knows that they are much better off without Gypsy involved in this story. Because she will make it all about her at one point or another. And this is who Katie Joy is. Moving on. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Nina. Nina is a TikTok creator. She's been following this Gypsy case for some time now, pretty much close to when she was released, and she has spoken with Gypsy, and she's also spoken with Kate, who needs a lot of people to support her because Kate has been through a lot. She has currently taken herself off TikTok, and I truly hope that she comes back to TikTok because she does not deserve to be run off by anybody, let alone Gypsy Rose, Katie Joy, and Kristy Blanchard. These people, they want to target smaller channels and bully them if they don't agree with everything they say. Around these streets, we don't tolerate bullies. And everybody knows that Katie Joy is a bully. Today, Nina put out a video that she had some messages from Kate. And I want us to take a look at that. Not all of it, because I want you to go over and see Nina's full post herself. But I do want to look into some of it. Damn, share screen. I would forget my head if it wasn't screwed on. Okay, let me just rewind that and speed it up a little bit so we ain't here all day. I have quite a fair amount of respect for Nina. Kristy tried to come in for her by telling everyone that she didn't have custody of her children. This, of course, was wrong, and Nina corrected them and explained what happened. And I already explained what happened in previous videos. But it just shows how vindictive these people are, how nasty they are, that they would come for anything, including involving children. So let's do this.
Gypsy Rose and Katie Joy, they're the true bullies. And there's no honor amongst thieves, right? Let me show you guys a few things to prove exactly what I'm saying.
People connected to this family about the issues with the people around her, about lifetime, about the monetization of this, the exploitation of this. It's just when
I believe this is Katie Joy reaching out to Kate. Adaptive Kate is a survivor of Munchausen by proxy. Her mother had her leg removed for dry skin on her heel. If she hadn't got away when she did, she would have had both legs removed. Heartbreaking.
you have a machine like Lifetime that's leading the charge and is demanding that people post and push and promote, your voice becomes so small. Like before she had a release and before she was released, my feedback was taken and actually valued. And once the machine started rolling, like my voice kind of got like lost. You know, they don't listen really anymore. And I don't expect them to do what I tell them to do, but they had always been like, oh yeah, you know, maybe we should.
Really, Katie, because you always expect people to do what you tell them to do. This is a pattern with you. This is something you've done many times.
Just kind of lay back and chill out, you know, kind of thing. But Lifetime has money to make.
And so does Katie. So does Kristy and Gypsy.
And then they got linked up with this Brie girl, and that was a huge problem because I was like, why do you have her going on there like bulldog attack and like fighting with people and getting nasty with people? It's just not a good look. It's just not a good look. You are correct. And I think because she is so comfortable seeking attention and she grew up with a mom that taught her to seek attention, this is what she knows how to do. She doesn't know how to do anything else.
Please do pause to read Kate's response to Katie.
And because she's not really getting therapy or doing extensive therapy, like this girl needs intense therapy, not once a week therapy. But because she is so focused on the money side of things and they've really hyped her up to believe she can make millions. I'm not lying when I tell you that they have an agenda. I mean, hell, Lifetime wanted her to get pregnant for a storyline. It's so gross. I was.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I'm more surprised that she didn't get pregnant for a storyline. In all honesty, I highly doubt it was through a lack of trying.
So disappointed when I found out that they were doing a documentary, this reality show. By the way, it's not a documentary. This is reality TV. Kristy, I can understand where she comes from because she's just being a very protective mother. Like she's honestly just trying to protect Gypsy. But I do think that she can sometimes really get
Protect the bag.
too much feedback that's negative. And I can understand wanting to stop the hate, but and wanting people to see the person you see.
No, they're loving the hate. They are sipping it up all over the place. They're encouraging the hate by attacking people. When they're doing this so publicly, it's gross.
But you can't control how other people view you, and you can't control what other people see and the conclusions they draw based on what they know. You can only control what you do. And I've tried to tell them that. I mean, I've tried so many ways to do this, and I don't have anything against Kristy. And with Kristy, I know that she's had some issues with Nina in the past, and I've told them, and I asked them and specifically suggested that they not interact with these creators because they're never going to change their mind. You know, like Nina has a very set opinion of Gypsy, and nothing that Gypsy would do would ever convince Nina that Gypsy isn't who Nina thinks she is, right? And
no, because Gypsy has done everything in her power that is making people think that she's lying, left, right, and center. She is doing this herself with the help of people like Katie Joy and her stepmother, Kristy Blanchard.
So trying to get into the weeds with her would just cause more conflict. I don't know if that makes sense. I just have tried to remind them that they can't control what other people say about them. But I think, that can be hard if you're not used to this kind of exposure. So there's a lot of misinformation out there about Nicholas Godejohn. And I think one of the challenging aspects is that people just put it all on Gypsy. Like she manipulated a guy that had a low IQ into doing this for her.
She did. She did.
And I think it's a very easy conclusion to draw. But I also think you have to remember that the state, in this case, is not going to cut her a deal if there isn't conclusive evidence that she was a victim of abuse. They're not going to give her mitigating factors if there's not evidence that she felt compelled that she had no other way out. And the state was very clear that Nicholas was a very dangerous individual.
At the end of the day, they blamed Nicholas for the murder. They made Gypsy second degree. They had everything they needed to hold someone accountable. And they agreed to a deal. They were happy they had enough to prosecute someone, make someone responsible. And it often works that way. If they got somebody they can make the scapegoat, they will do it. If they can make things easier on themselves, the police, they're going to do it. Like, why would they want to make their job harder? When they could be doing all sorts of 2 years before they have enough evidence to actually prosecute. Why bother? Once they got Nicholas's confession, there wasn't much more they needed. They had to hold Gypsy accountable because of everything that came out. As for the BDMS stuff, Gypsy was doing this with Dan before Nick. Gypsy introduced BDSM to Dan. Nick wasn't the first person to introduce it to Gypsy. Dan has said this in the courtroom. And if you go back to that video I showed of Becca Scopes, you will see Dan in the courtroom answering some of these questions.
That was looking to hurt people. The challenge with your video and her video, I don't know that it's like her copying you. I mean, she could have been. I don't know what's in Gypsy's mind. I just know that she was getting a lot of feedback at the time from a lot of people that she wasn't looking like an advocate. Not just like people like you or the anti-Gypsy.
And she doesn't look like an advocate. She's done very little to advocate for any other person other than herself. As long as she's getting money, as long as she's getting the big bucks, she doesn't care about anybody else. Never has, never will. She claims to be remorseful for her mother. She half-heartedly wished her mother a happy Mother's Day, but only days before it was her mother's birthday, and she was living it up on the beach, telling the world how she's never been to the beach before, which is a lie. There's also a Gypsy swimming in the pool being taught like she'd never learned to swim before, but she was swimming with dolphins. These lies can be proven. They're stupid lies to start with, but they can be proven.
See, but feedback in her own life that if you want to be an advocate, you have to look like an advocate. So I can't say, I mean, I think that there would be common themes that most survivors would have and opinions that most survivors would share that are common. Is it directly related to you? She could have seen yours and been inspired by it, maybe. Do you have examples of anything that she's said to you? I don't want to diminish what you're seeing either. I don't want to gaslight you. So there could be. I just don't know.
But you are.
The challenge with
Katie, all you ever do is gaslight people. You've been doing it for years. You're a friggin' pro at it now.
So here, Kate is showing her medical records and proof. This is the same things that she tried to use, not like her actual proof, but the same things that Kate said she used on there. And then also she combined that with the stuff that Kate said on the live. These are the conversations that are being said. And this is just to show you who this lady really is. And then at the end of all of this, she said this: any of you have anything to say about Kate sharing this, I'm going to go ham. And the reason why I say that is because Kate Joy or Steele's Joy, whatever, she's not credible and she's shown who she is. So here she says, I completely understand. Then Katie Joy says, I'm deleting my voice memos only because I don't want them saved. You know, when you're scandalous, you don't want anything to be proven. She says, so is
Of course not. Katie wants to get rid of anything she can.
she not able to make profit off of the show? She said, from my understanding, no. She said, I'm just asking just to not to share our conversations either. I have no intentions of sharing. I can't stand the drama surrounding what comes from it. But also at this point, Kate did not know what was really going on. So I believe that all of this needs to be exposed. So if anybody wants to come for Kate, come for me. And the one thing I want to add is, I don't know if you guys noticed, she said before Lifetime came into the picture, her feedback was valued. So Katie Joy is only worried or concerned or care about the fact that they're no longer taking her advice because there is a company like Lifetime standing behind her. Katie Joy doesn't care about any of this. She just wants the spotlight. And I just want to know how much Gypsy and Kristy paid her. How much did you give for the bag?
I have the same question to Nina. I have not signed a petition to revoke her parole. As I said previously, that is not my place. If the parole officer is not watching what she's doing, then that's on them. I'm not saying Nick should be released. I am saying he deserves a fair trial. And I'm sure the people can see that and understand that. Everybody, regardless of their crimes, deserve a fair trial. Isn't that why we have trials? So they should be fair and just. This hasn't been fair. None of it. Lies upon lies upon lies. This whole case is built on lies. And that is where they will always lay, on a bed of lies.
You ain't got to tell us nothing else. But that check that cleared yesterday, how much was it for? Because we know you got a check.
I'm going to stop singing that a minute, and I am going to go back. One moment, I just want to get a video up. Okay, I just need to figure out which one it is that I need. Ready, it is this one. Okay, let's do this. Share screen. Just a tad bit because it's only a short video anyway. So,
I would like to say the tea is hot, but this post is not going to be your typical funny ha 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 post. Kate and I were on live probably for about an hour and a half. Kate shared her story um, and her sister's story on, being victims of, her mom having Munchausen by proxy. During that live, apparently, Katie Joy, Gypsy, and Kristy were on this live, or one of them, or all. And the exact same story that Kate told. Katie went on her page and regurgitated it verbatim. And Kate made a post um, kind of speaking about it, but it was very discouraging to her. I'm going to show you the text messages that she sent me, and I just want you guys to read.
this is absolutely heartbreaking. Kate has been sharing her story for 3 years now. And until 5 months ago, she had no issues whatsoever. But then Gypsy Rose was released, and everything started up for her.
Freedom. Kate texted me and said, "Hey girl, I'm gonna take a break from TikTok. I can't do this. I can't go to war against Katie Joy. I have to remove that video before my life is hell against this crazy woman. It's not worth it. I'm upset right now and I'm boiling." So of course I said, "Okay, I get it. Just private it." She said, "I did." I said, "For you only, okay?" She put, "I posted it out of emotions. I have receipts, but mentally I'm exhausted and I'm not prepared to battle with this crazy girl. I hate confrontation. This isn't what my TikTok was ever created for."
No, she wanted to share her experience and maybe help other victims out there, unlike Gypsy Rose and her crew.
I now don't even want to keep sharing how my sister and I survived because of behavior like this. My account is deactivated and basically pushed her down a road that she just really needs to take a break. She says, "I appreciate your support. Thank you so much for having me in your live and a place to share my story. You can share these messages if you want to. You don't have to, but I know your messages and comments will flood with what's happened. I feel like I'm giving Gypsy exactly what she wants, but I have to do this for me. My story, or my sister's story, does not belong to her."
I am so sorry, Kate. I'm so sorry anybody would put this on you, to do this to you. You've done nothing wrong. Please know that. Please know that by sharing your story, you didn't do anything wrong. These people are money hungry and fame hungry, and they don't care who they step on to get to where they want to be. And that is the reality of this whole situation. These people do not care who they step on to get to where they want to be. I hope and I pray that you will come back and continue to share your story.
Her. To bully real survivors off the app is a level so low I can't describe. Real survivors invalidate her, so our details become hers, and there can't be more than one. So, of course, I was going to ask her if I could share the text messages, but honestly, I wasn't going to ask her today because I just felt like it was insensitive and I didn't want to, ask her anything that would, you know, hurt her, or maybe I was being insensitive. I just wanted to be mindful of that. She says, "It's okay. I know the love and support was there. I know many will ask you, I have triggers, and this is something that I know I can't handle right now. What I just saw hurt me too much. Now, this is not directed towards Katie Joy, Gypsy, or Kristy, because I know that they are very heartless people. And I know it is like speaking to a wall. People like that never change and they don't have hearts to even have the empathy for people that survived. But the fact that a woman like this is using something like this to manipulate the public, I really want people to see her for who she is,
Mm-hmm.
um, for her being so manipulative and so evil and so conniving and so self-centered and selfish. And I would hope that this would have been a space where Kate would have been able to share her story to even change laws for kids that suffer at the hands of people that suffer from Munchausen by proxy. And unfortunately, that is not able to happen because when you've been abused and had such trauma, something like this you can't share. And this is why I'm telling you, this woman, um, Chucky, isn't a true survivor or victim of it, because she would not be able to exploit herself for a dollar. And that's all I'm going to say to you guys. I hope you guys have a great night. Yo,
Gypsy is a bully. What she has done to Kate, what Katie Joy has done to Kate, and what Kristy has done to Kate is disgusting. I hope that when Kate is able to get back up on her feet, no pun intended, that she is able to come back and continue sharing her story and her sister's story, and not have to worry about the likes of Katie Joy or Gypsy Rose or Kristy Blanchard. These people are heartless, soulless, and as Nina said, only care about themselves. So I want to ask that you reach out to Kate, show her some love, let her know that we support her. Leave messages on Nina's TikTok or YouTube. I will put the links in the description. The bullying needs to stop. The harassment needs to stop. I don't believe a word that Gypsy says anymore, and that's the way it's going to stay. I don't believe someone so twisted knows what it's like to be abused. So selfish. She thought that Taylor Swift wrote a song about her, for God's sake. That song was probably written 2 to 3 years ago, if not longer. And the fact that she wants to meet Taylor and that her team reached out to Taylor. How entitled do you have to be? My team reached out to Taylor Swift and they didn't respond. I will add those at the end of this, just as a reminder. Absolute gross, vile. If you can hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, I would very much appreciate it. And I shall see you all in the next one. I hope you have a great night, and I hope that tomorrow is a great day for you all. Good night, all.